My name is Jerome Altman. I am the director of the Exodus Drum and Bugle Corps. One of the greatest things that I found was that music is always an encouragement and uplifting, and it gives the kids a chance to do great things in the community.
We're here at Exodus Institute, 816 North Laramie. Thank you, please. And we're here on a Wednesday, and it's a beautiful sunny day here in Chicago. And I happen to have Miss Elizabeth Lockhart here with me from the Healing Temple Church. We used to do some wonderful things together in the parades. Dr. Lockhart has, for over 30 years, been doing the Say No to Drugs parade that we sit back and Exodus Drum and Bugle Corps come and perform for, and several other groups in the city of Chicago and the suburbs come and join in those wonderful parades. And right now, I'm gonna let her have it, the show, and bring it to you the way that she wants to bring it, because she might want to invite some people out to that parade, when we're gonna have that parade, and how you can contact her and some of the things that they're doing at the church and in the community. So, Sister Lockhart, would you elaborate upon some of those things that we happen to mention there?
Sure, but first of all, thank you for inviting me to be part of your show and part of your program. I think it's an awesome thing, the awesome work that you guys have been doing for many, many years.
Oh, thank you,
and to see you still in the fight, and to see you not giving up through sickness, through death, through depression, through oppression, you are still here.
That's right.
So let me just say thank you for being here for our youth and being here for our community, and keeping things alive and keeping things going, because that is so important, that we don't give up despite the adversities we may face, that we stay in the fight. Yes. And thank you for continuing to fight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and the work that you continue to do, sometimes with little money and sometimes with no money.
No money.
So we're grateful for those. Again, so thank you for this opportunity. Let me just say again, my name is Dr. Elizabeth Lockhart, and I'm the Executive Director for the Dr. Lockhart Resource Institute. We are located at 4941 West Chicago Avenue on the west side of Chicago in the Austin community. So we are basically neighbors. So we have been on Chicago Avenue now for over 40 years. And it started with my father, the late Reverend Dr. Arthur Lockhart, who was the former pastor of Healing Temple Church of God in Christ. And he came to the west side of Chicago from many years ago from the south. He came with a third grade education, but his goal was to make it better for his family. And so he came to the west side of Chicago, but he started in the West Garfield community. Mm-hmm. And wanted to make a better life for himself and his family. When he had enough money, he moved to Austin because he thought that was upgraded. So coming to Austin and working as a janitor, he pastored a church. And when he pastored the church, he became an entrepreneur and made it better for his family and his 8 children. And my brother, one of my brothers, we've been in Austin since, we walked down the streets and we saw all the stores that were Austin. I don't know if you remember Jules.
Yes.
Used to be down there. Walgreens used to be down there. Buddy Bears used to be down the street. So we were flourishing, with a lot of businesses on Chicago Avenue, being able to walk the streets as a young lady, going to high school at that time. But since that time, we've seen things disappear in our communities. And my father, when he moved into Austin, they would say, Dr. Lockhart, you gonna put that glass in your church? He said, they're gonna bust it all out. And he said, well, you gotta train people how to treat you.
That's right.
You have to train people. If you keep on caging them up, they're gonna act like what you treat them like. But if you let them know that you have an expectation for them, then they're gonna respect your expectations. And so we never had that problem. So as he moved from Rice, because we started in Rice Street, 5916 West Rice, and he moved from Rice Street to Chicago Avenue, where we are now. It used to be, I don't know if you remember, it used to be Harlow Electrical Company.
Okay.
And he took that electrical company and transformed it into a church. And became a light in the community. So we did all kinds of things, to get it built, from sidewalk sales to selling dinners, snowballs on the corner. We used to get bags and carry cans in the bags so we could get the money. Whatever we did, we worked together.
And you also had a hardware store.
Yes.
I can recall over
Yes.
there
Yes.
across the street.
Once the church was finished being built, my dad was very business savvy. And so he bought the hardware store across the street. And then from the hardware store, he got the corner building, and there was a dollar store.
Okay.
So, but he saw the need in the community because the drug was very rapid in the community, and it still is. It has somewhat, people have gotten smarter.
Right.
And so they're not always on the corner like they used to, so they've gotten smarter how they do things. But he started the Say No to Drugs and Violence. It started off as Say No to Drugs Parade.
How long has that parade been going? I mean,
This year would be 35 years.
I knew we've been doing it for over 30 years. I think we started in 1994, 95. We started doing the parades in 95. And my God, that's a long time. And I'm so glad that you and your brother kept his vision alive by still doing and performing that. And I think you also added on some other things that you were doing over
Yes, we did. We did add on a parade, but what was so funny when we started the parade, we started with the U-Haul, the trailers.
Right.
So that's all we could afford. So we had the U-Haul trailers. We would decorate it
That's
with
right.
paper and stuff, and
You
there
had
wasn't
to
no
have a
floats,
float.
but it wasn't no floats. That was the float. But he was so determined that we didn't have bands, and so we were borrowing little bongos or whatever with cymbals and marching, and because he was determined to make a difference, and so he started that parade. He didn't live many long years after that, though.
Okay.
After the parade, but he was very, very passionate about saying that. So as years progressed, and we took ownership of the parade, that's when we updated. And I said, we need to have some floats.
Right.
So we started, campaigning, raising money for floats. And then as the years progressed, and a lot of violence was happening in the community. So it went from just drugs to people starting to shoot. And things started happening like that in the community. And so we added Say No to Drugs and Violence.
That's right.
Because it was very important that we understand, and we would do, make signs like, hands up, don't shoot.
Right.
I want to live. So the little children would be doing that, and we have some little children we work with now. They started in the parade when they were like 3 and 4 years old. Now they're 20.
Right.
And they're still marching the parade. It's just an awesome experience. Last year we incorporated and we added on the scholarships. Okay. So now we do scholarships.
Now, you mentioned something about you have to train people. People don't just know. And I didn't do a whole show, but I went to several funerals. Mm-hmm. And in these funerals, I noticed that young men were coming in. And by them not coming up in churches or different places,
right?
They just kept their hats on and walked through the church like it wasn't anything, and they weren't Muslims, where you take your shoes. They didn't take the hats or the shoes off. So I didn't quite see, it was like something that you're not supposed to do in church.
Okay.
But they were not taught. And so I did a class on YouTube here at the center to teach the young men, how to respect. Learn, you got to take your hat off. And a lot of those children that are performing, acting out downtown Chicago and on the beaches right now, they haven't been taught. And we have to reach out to them and to teach them some kind of way, because they're not in the churches, but we got to reach them.
Well, since you said that, I will add to that is that, the church is a place where people come to get the spiritual enlightenment. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily a place where you come to get home training.
Okay.
Home training, that kind of training starts in the home. But what's happening now, with a lot of things, is you got kids raising kids. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, the grandmothers are no longer.
45 years old.
Yeah, there's no more big mamas.
Right.
Because big mamas would help with the children, but now you got the mamas in the clubs with the children. So you don't have a balance of parenting and parenthood, teaching your children how to act, and you know, and everybody sometimes wants to put the blame on everybody for these kids.
Right.
But it starts in the home. You know, we didn't, when we were coming up, we weren't, the police was our least words.
Right.
We were scared of mom and daddy.
Oh, yeah.
But now, because there is no parenting in the home,
Okay.
they pass mom and daddy in the police station.
Well, you know, we were talking about this the other day, talking about how the parents, I grew up in Henry Hunter Project.
Okay.
And if Miss Parson told your mama something, it didn't matter what it was, you were going to get a whooping by your mama.
Oh my God.
And Miss Parson, if she saw you doing something,
Yes.
she could whoop you before you got to your mother.
And we would pray. So Miss Parson, please don't tell my mom. But don't tell my mom. Just please don't tell my mom.
You know, and we used to have what was, in my family, we had what was called, we would have, the family would get together on Saturdays.
Right.
And we would do, they would tell us like Bible stories.
Right.
This is how we learned, and all the kids, we would sit around, and after we had popcorn, and we might watch shop theater afterwards, but all of us had to go. And Big Mama would tell it to me and some of my aunts over on my mother's side of the family, and I used to try to get slick and run away.
Right.
And go over to my other aunt's house, and then Aunt Byrne over there would be doing the same thing with the children over on that side of the family. I said, I just can't get away from this Bible stuff. You know, all I want to do is eat popcorn and watch shop theater. But you had to be obedient.
Absolutely, absolutely. You had to do that. And also, as we were growing up, you know, I think one of the biggest things that is exciting is this level of madness with the young people is just social media.
Mm-hmm.
There was no social media when we were growing up. No, when we were outside, we enjoyed baseball,
Right.
softball, it was kickball, racing, and riding the bike. Those kind of games, they don't even play no more.
Well, they can't. You know, we had jobs here last summer, and it was 3 young men. Now, they stay about a block off of Chicago Avenue.
Okay.
Here, but they're on the other side of Pulaski.
Right?
And the father of one of the young men would bring them to work
Okay.
every day. All right? And if he didn't drive them to work, they wouldn't come to work.
Okay.
And Mr. Omer said, what's wrong? Why y'all not coming to work? I said, man, I ain't getting on, I'm not standing out there waiting on that bus. I could get shot waiting on that bus to come down here. You know, and they weren't in no gang or anything, but it was just the way
fear, you know?
the society is now.
People, you know, and everybody is, you know, almost, it's just a dangerous time right now, you know, raising your youth, raising your young people and trying to keep them safe. And it's very difficult, you know, trying to keep them safe, especially when parents have to work.
Right.
And so parents have to work their own 8-hour jobs, sometimes 10-hour jobs, and they're leaving the young people to kind of take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, when we were coming up, it was Big Mom. So
That's
there's
right.
always somebody around. You were going to be in the house by yourself, but now we're getting unsupervised, and they're on the social media, and God knows what they're looking at.
And you know they're getting younger.
Yes.
Causing all of this crime and different things. You know, it used to be the older guys, maybe when they got in their teens,
Right.
like upper teens, that
Right.
would cause all the difficulty because they were out doing
Right.
other things. They wanted money, they wanted to dress, they wanted to do certain things. But now they're starting to do it at 10 and 11 years old. You know,
I'm telling you,
they're getting
13-year-olds
these
still in cars.
Right, you know, so it's a different society, and we have to reach them and meet them where they are.
Where they are.
You know, and you all are over there at the church, and you're doing so much for them. And you're not only helping the youth at the church with choirs and different things, and it's so wonderful that you and Mr. Ullman get together and get these performing groups to come through.
Absolutely.
We had the dance competition up at Columbus Park.
That was
and
awesome.
all those kids came from different
We were wondering where they
states.
come from. We didn't even know they were here.
Yeah, they were, I mean, from Wisconsin and Ohio, and all of them were right here on the west side, and they were doing dances, and they had these wonderful uniforms on, and there was parents out there. It was wonderful to have the joy that it just brought me and Sister Lockhart just being in their presence to see how wonderful it was for our youth to sit back here and have something to do where it was positive in the neighborhood and the community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things in the parade is that this year what's going to be different in the parade is every year we try to add something to it because we wonder, are we being effective? Because, it's good to have a parade, but it's just not about the glitz and the glamour. It's are we affecting, are we changing lives?
Okay.
I remember the scripture tells us in the Bible that heaven rejoices over one sinner that repents.
Yes.
So that means just one person. So we can affect or change or cause one person's mind to think differently, because that's where it starts at. It starts in the mind. They got to think differently.
Right.
And it's hard to think differently. And people say this facetious, but in the Bible, when Moses was trying to get the children of Israel out of the wilderness, and said even God couldn't change their mind.
Oh, yeah.
So you got some people,
Stubborn.
you got some stubborn people. That's why we rejoice and we're glad if we can just turn one person's life around, because that one person's life will affect somebody else's life, and do that. And so with the parade, besides after the parade, we've incorporated a lot of resources that people can come and get the help that they need. Now this year we're going to be working with ComEd.
Okay.
So ComEd is going to come and we're going to set up a booth with ComEd, because a lot of times families struggle if you have if the parent is struggling, then that makes the kid struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to meet their needs. And so we're working with ComEd. We're going to have booths set up for not just ComEd, but we're going to have the whole seat up set up and get assistance with
Right.
light,
Now, that's
gas,
with the gas,
water
will it
bill.
help the water?
Exactly. We're going to have the water department out there. People who have homes and have questions about the taxes, they're going to have those kind of things. So after the parade, our goal is to have a total community fair, so that everybody can get help on every level from vaccinations, from the health, from enrollment in school. We're going to have the colleges out there.
Okay.
They'll be offering opportunities to apply for admission and scholarships, and those individuals, the trade schools, those individuals who don't want to go to college. Everybody's not college bound.
Yes.
And so being able to offer those, kind of, and that's another thing too. They taking those kind of things out of high school.
That's right.
Further preventing our young folks from getting jobs and becoming employable to get that kind of skill, the nursing skill, the cosmetology skill, the pharmacy tech skill, the secretarial skill, all of those skills. Those schools are basically dismiss those kind of programs. So we'll have the trade people there because maybe you want to learn a trade.
That's right.
We
have to.
Yes, and so that's our goal for this parade is change lives in the parade. After the parade, affect community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so important. And that's what we want to be able to do this year in the parade.
And there are some other things that I learned when I came to the parade. There was a little kit that they were given, because there's a lot of people that kind of use drugs and different things, and I forget the name of what it's called, but we got some of them upstairs.
Narcan?
Narcan.
Mm-hmm.
In case people, because we do have a little program here on Wednesdays and on Sundays.
It's a nice program. Don't say little.
Okay, well, we have
I'll tell you why.
good
I'll tell you why. I had a store, a bookstore, right? And it wasn't a great big store. And I would say people, I got a little store, and the Spirit said, stop speaking that to your life.
Mm-hmm.
You have a program.
I didn't understand that.
And so having a program, so we're not gonna say it's a little program. We have a program. Because you are what you say you are. So you have a program here, a good program. My dad would say, you just as good as the next person.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing that's different is what you speak. So we're gonna say you have a program here.
We have a big program.
There you go, there you go.
Wednesdays and
That's
Sundays.
right, that's right.
On Wednesdays at 6 o'clock, they're
Right.
here
Uh-huh.
and they're telling you and teaching you how to recover
Exactly.
from certain difficulties that you have. It's just like a regular church.
Yes.
You just come here and learn how to take care of yourself.
Mhm.
And if you don't go to church on Sunday, they happen to be here Sunday at 10 o'clock in
Okay,
the morning.
all right.
So that you could come here and learn how to recover from certain things. And that's all the church really is for a lot of us out here. You know, we go to those churches so that we can sit back and learn how to get back to God. We're actually learning how to be spiritual enough to get there. So this is the same thing that we happen to have on Wednesdays and Sundays here at Exodus.
So during the parade, we do have a vendor that's out there that's set up with the booth. And during the parade last year, we had to actually use them.
Oh, wow.
We had to
Now, this
somebody was walking in the parade and had an attack. They had did whatever they did, but we had to actually perform that service in Narcan with them and brought them back. So
You
yeah.
know, and by us being over here on the west side, there's a lot of people that come out.
Yes.
And on that day, can you give us the date that
It's
we're
going to
have
be
that?
Saturday, July the 29th. It starts we kick off at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. we kick it off. And we march, and our route is we go from 4941 with Chicago Avenue. We go all the way down to Central to Chicago Avenue. Then we go north up to Augusta, because we want to make sure we stay in the community.
Right.
And then we go from Augusta back to Cicero back to Chicago Avenue, and we disband back to the church where we'll have a lot of entertainment. We got Michael Jackson coming back this year. We got the South Shore Drill Team.
Okay.
Yeah, we have several other bands, Jesse White Tumblers.
All right.
There's a couple other dance teams that'll be coming and performing during that time. That's where all the colleges will be. There's free food all day long. We transition from hot dogs to the real food.
All right.
Yeah, so we go from hot dogs and burgers, and after a while we pull out the barbecue chicken and the spaghettis, the corn on the cob.
The green.
Green beans.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to look into that, Mr.
Yeah.
Altman. Maybe
Yeah.
we can go over to the place and get some greens or something and
Okay.
throw something together
Okay. There you
and
go.
kind of accommodate some of those seniors that
All right.
want a little cornbread and,
Right.
and greens, and you
Right.
ain't got to even give us no utensils. We know how
Okay.
to do it the old school. But
So-
we just happen to have in our midst, because he does praise dance also. Michael,
My son is Michael Jackson, and he does praise dance.
he can do the
One of the
praise.
show, she just said it.
Oh yeah, we know he's gonna be. She said he's gonna be on the show, but I let her know that he does praise dance. I didn't say just the Michael Jackson. I said he does praise dance. So it don't have to. You don't just have to wait for the parade to get it, but you can come and get him on a Sunday morning.
Oh, okay.
You know, at that service to show the youth of the church how they could possibly get into something like this and do some things that's wonderful
Okay.
for the Lord also.
Okay.
You know, so
Alright.
that's another thing that he does.
Look like we have a question from the
We
audience.
got a question
From the audience.
do we really want to take it? Give him a mic.
He's inclined to speak now.
Wait, I wanted to share, because she didn't get to share, she donated a van to us.
Sure did.
Now,
That was-
15 passenger van.
I forgot all about that.
Oh yes.
Long time ago.
I sure forgot all about that. That was.
That was.
You know you're working for God, baby. You ain't keeping track of what you do. You just do what he tell you.
That's a good
And
thing.
and you know what? That is so wonderful that we're also going to be. We're with the World Peace Run.
Okay.
I got some flyers
Okay.
outside. I took you over to one of the peace trees,
Right.
and it was on me and Mr. Altman's heart.
Okay.
Last year, Mr. Altman happened to be a little ill at the time,
Okay.
and he said, "Let's get Dr. Lockhart one of those trees over there."
Okay.
And I said to him, I said, "Do you want me to go to Elizabeth Lockhart to do it because he was helping you with the parade.
Right,
He said, no, I want to do it.
okay.
You know, and we didn't get it done last year.
Okay,
But we're going to get it done this year
Okay.
for Dr. Lockhart.
all right.
For his efforts on saying no to the drugs,
Right.
cut the crime out in our neighborhoods. Let's get some peace, love, harmony back in our neighborhood. Let's bring some joy throughout our community. We could do this thing ourselves. And it sounds like we're going to have a wonderful time at that parade.
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
especially
yes.
afterwards, Mr. Alderman going to make sure that we get the greens. We're going
All
to
right,
get those donated.
All right, very
And
good.
we're going to have fun on the cob, you say?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we
Look,
are.
look at my camera, man, got right around there.
I'm there for the barbecue.
Absolutely. So what I want to say before we're done is I also want to congratulate your organization because you also are a recipient of a community grant this year from the Alderman's office.
Alderman Nix,
Yeah.
you see her picture back there. Show that
Right.
picture back there on that wall while we're,
Okay.
can you turn
I
that
can,
camera
I
around
can see,
there?
I can see. And so this year, the Arthur Lockhart Resource Institute, we were responsible for administering grants, many grants to the community.
Okay.
And so we said we cannot forget Exodus.
Right.
And so in doing
Round
that,
of applause, please.
and so not wanting to forget Exodus, and so we were giving out, $500 grants, $1,000 grant. And so I said to all of them, I said, what should we do? She said, Dr. Lockhart, let's give them $1,000.
Hey,
And I
man.
said, all right. So
All right.
they're going to be the recipient of that grant, and I will be administering it tomorrow.
Oh, thank God. Big round of applause. You're going to have to hurry up and get turnip greens and mustard greens. It was going to be colors at first, but we're going to do top class.
So I'll be doing that tomorrow for the community, and it'll be at 6 p.m.
Okay.
6 p.m. We start at 6. I start before she starts a meeting because I don't stay for the entire meeting, but I come there to administer the grant because it's administered to our organization.
Okay.
And then I leave. Okay.
So you're going to be there at 6?
Sure he is.
Well,
I got to raise my hand.
So we have another comment from the
we
audience.
got another
Okay.
comment. Can you get the camera on him before he do the
I just wanna
comment?
ask a question. What is going on with the new boys club?
The new boys clubs, when you say what is going on, I need to know what do you mean what is going on, because there's a lot that's happening. So if you want me to speak to something specific, I can.
Yeah, definitely specific. The alderman stated that they want Exodus to be a part of the boys club.
Okay.
That's why I was just asking if do you have any information on it?
When they'll be done, because we
No, I
still.
mean, as far as, I'll get back to her to see exactly the capacity that she wanted us to. She wanted us
Right,
to
because
go
I
on.
don't really know the capacity in which she wants you to work with the Boys and Girls Club. I work on the other end of making sure it's up and running and properly and everybody's engaged. But individual relationships, I don't work on.
I got one thing to say too. Back in 1995, you say, we used to go, you all used to have a hall. And we would go upstairs and do little banquets and all
Right,
that.
yeah.
Do you all still have that hall?
We do. We still have the hall. We don't do a lot of banquets up there anymore, but we do have the hall. We use it as needed. If a lot of things are going on, if somebody needs to use that space. But we rarely use the hall because, we used to have a lot of dinners. We don't have as many
Right.
dinners as we used to for stuff like that. But right now, it is still there. It is still available, and it's still lovely as ever. But we don't, especially since COVID, we really don't
Right.
do a lot
Okay.
anymore. No.
That COVID messed up so much.
Messed up so many things.
But-
But we're still here.
Right, we're still
And we're
here.
still thriving. And so
And-
grateful for that.
On April, I think it was April the 15th, we were at Stop the Killing program with Mr. Shenandoah
Okay.
in Columbus Park.
Yes.
And we had a bunch of veterans there, the American Legions. They were also there with, and Sister Lockhart led us in prayer and everything.